Ellen McCauley at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. Now, Pray It Off starts with P-I-O. 8 years ago, we started the group, and then you know how you make nicknames. We started calling it Pio. And then, as good Catholics, we know there's a Saint Pio. So, very easily, St. Pio became our intercessor. And Nora reminded me last week to maybe explain a little bit of history about St. Pio. And I'd like to start the meeting tonight. The Eat Less, Move More, Pray part is about St. Pio tonight. This is a great article, and I want to hit the high points. At the age of 5, he dedicated his life to God. I don't know about you, but I think I was picking my nose at the age of 5. I mean, he dedicated his life to God. He was able to see and communicate not only with his guardian angel, but also with Jesus and the Virgin Mary. And you know what's interesting? Sometimes you hear about these stories and you go, really? Really? I believe this. St. Pio was a contemporary. He didn't die that long ago. Pope John Paul II, when he was a young priest, went all the way across Poland to Italy so that St. Padre Pio, who was Father Pio at the time, could hear his confession. I believe this. Once a woman who noticed his spiritual demeanor asked him, when did you consecrate your life to God? Was it at your first Holy Communion? And he answered, always, daughter, always. He was humble, recollected, and silent. What he loved the most was prayer. And I love this part. His Mass could sometimes last several hours. Now, I don't know about you, but we've got some people in church that if the Mass goes past 45 minutes, they're like, what's going on? I got to get out of here. Several hours. And he said he can't help it. He tried to say Mass like other priests, but he couldn't do it. He prayed almost continuously. I think that's a part that sometimes we don't always do. We say our morning prayers perhaps, our evening prayers, but throughout the day, are we chatting it up with God? Are we saying, Lord, there's a box of donuts in the break room. Help me to walk on by. Or, Lord, I need your help getting to work. Will you help me drive this car? Are you praying continuously? Are you praying for people who are suffering? He loved to pray the rosary. His mission was to save the souls in purgatory. Constantly was praying for the souls in purgatory. He suffered from bad health his entire life. Think about that. He suffered his entire life. So we think so often, why do bad things happen to me? I try so hard to be good. I work so hard. Suffering is part of the human condition. If you read any biography on a saint, do they say they sat around on a pillow and ate bonbons and had a perfect life? These saints and martyrs suffered. Remember someone said you wanted to be Jesus' enemy because he saw how he treated his friends? That's an old saying. Somebody said that. I see how you treat your friends. I don't know if I want to be your friend. Spiritual sufferings he experienced as well. He received the stigmata, the wounds on his hands and feet, when he was 31 years old, and he lived with those painful wounds for 50 years. 50 years. You know, you think it's a blessing to have signs of the crucifixion of Christ. In one way, it is a powerful blessing, but it's also very painful. He had the gift of healing by location, prophecy, miracles, discernment of spirits. He could abstain from sleep and nourishment. He could read hearts, and he was able to speak and understand languages that he had never studied. These are documented truths. He was able to sleep a few hours each night, and he ate 300 or 400 calories. And what's interesting is he was a chunky guy. And the thing is, so many of us think, well, like myself, maybe my body just will never weigh 130. It's ridiculous to try to have that kind of a goal, and I don't. Everybody's different, even Padre Pio. He rarely left the monastery, and he never even took 1 day vacation from his grueling schedule in 51 years. This is what he wanted to do. This is what he lived his life for. He surrendered to death on September 23rd, 1968, at the age of 81. And his last words were, Jesus and Mary, over and over with his last breath. And then he said, before he died, after my death I will do more. My real mission will begin after my death. One of the beauties about being a Catholic is the intercession of the saints. I like to use this analogy. You're going for an interview at National Grid, and you've got an interview with the president, but you're BFFs with the vice president. So you call the vice president and you say, hey, can you put in a good word for me? Can you tell them that you've known me all these years and that you know how hard I work and my work ethic? It would mean a lot to me. The vice president goes up to the president, who they have a very good relationship, and says, I know Ellen McCauley. You really should hire her. She's wonderful. She works hard. She's dependable. Do you think the president is going to take the word of the vice president with some weight? Yes. And they're going to say, well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's what the saints do. The saints intercede on our behalf. How wonderful to have that ability. St. Pio said he would do more. Do you think he cares about our weight loss journey?
Yes.
I do. I do. Oh, I think St. Pio cares. You know why? Because they care about everything. Anything we struggle with. If I had trouble paying the bills, that's something that the saints in Jesus, they care about any human suffering, any human issue. Now, if I wanted to win the lottery, maybe you wouldn't care about that. You know, I mean, there's certain things, I don't know, if you have wishful thinking, etc. But I do think we can intercede to Padre Pio for our weight. There's wonderful prayer cards for Padre Pio in here. There's more information if you want it. I do think he's a wonderful saint to have. We say his intercession at the end of every meeting. Thank you, Nora. Thank you, Bob.